This is Her Rules Radio. I'm Alex Jamieson, your hostess. This is where women come, and cool dudes too, to learn how to live your life by your own rules. Now, this series for spring 2021, I wanted to talk to other multi-hyphenated women, as I like to call us. Those creatives who have several different outlets, businesses, or creative modes all happening at the same time. I got that from the film and TV business, you know, the actor, director, writer, producer. That's the multi-hyphenate. So if you're new to the show, welcome. Glad you're here, especially today, because you're about to meet an incredible creatrix. And if you're a longtime listener, welcome back. You're going to remember today's guest because Rebekah has been on the show. I don't even know how many times. And one of the reasons I love podcasting is because I get to use this as an excuse to talk to my dear friends who are amazing and I admire so much. And I want everybody to know about them. Rebekah Borucki, so excited for you to be here. Hi.
Hi. When you said multi-hyphenate, I thought, oh, is this for people that have been married a lot? Because that's me too.
We'll add that to the list of things that you've accomplished.
I thought you were talking about my last name, but
no. That's funny. This is only for people who've been married more than once.
I mean, we know things. We've survived a lot.
We have a lot to share. All right. So just in case you don't know about Bex, she is the founder of Row House Publishing, which in itself could be an entire interview, but also created the Little Readers Big Change Initiative, which might be one of the cutest things ever created on earth, is a mom of 5, meditation guide, author, publisher of books for big and little readers, and as I'm coming to discover, has a penchant for collecting vintage 80s toys, and was the Cranberry Queen of 1990-something.
95.
You were a Cranberry Queen.
I was the Miss Cranberry pageant queen.
We need a picture of that to put next to your headshot on the show notes.
I'll get it for you.
Okay, good. So
I feel like we're doing NPR right now. This feels very like, what's the show that you listen to on Sunday mornings that my parents used to make me listen to? Lake Wobegon.
Stop it. That's funny. I need the sound guy to make all the like, here comes Bex riding into the studio. The Foley guy, the Foley artist, sound artist guy.
Goodness.
We have a lot to talk about in terms of what you do in the world, your inspirations, your passions. And I want to take it back to the very beginning of your life, because this is for and about creative folks.
Okay.
So I have a suspicion about this because we've shared a lot with each other about our moms, who are both very creative, interesting ladies. But when you were a child, did you know that you wanted to be an artist, a creative person, that you had something to say, that you had things to create?
I was always the quote unquote artist, which meant I drew. I was that person in the family. I was that person at school. I always won all the little art awards. I was Mrs. Martine's favorite student. Like, I was class pet. She was my art teacher. Although, oh gosh, she was so great. I used to think she was the prettiest woman. Remember, like, when you had that teacher that you just thought was the prettiest teacher ever? I
had a huge crush on my 3rd grade teacher.
Oh, I had Miss Tapper, who I named a character in one of my children's books after my 2nd grade teacher. She used to wear those like A-line dresses, like the with the collared shirt dresses every day. Oh my gosh, she was like Donna Reed. And and Mrs. Martine, she would say, "Hello, class," and we'd say, "Hello, Mrs. Martini." I don't know why she was Mrs. Martini.
Because it was fun to say.
Yeah, so I was that kid, but I remember being 8 years old and having a knowing that I was going to be famous. I didn't know for what, but I knew that, yes, I had something to say and I was going to be famous and I'd be on a stage, but not like an actress, not a singer. I didn't know, but yeah. So that knowing, I don't know, I attached myself to, I guess. And so the other job I had, which is probably why I quit and get fired from every job. I knew it was temporary.
Unemployable by others. Self-employment only.
So many times getting fired.
Well, Well, that's funny because the kinds of careers that people like you and I have created, right, where we're kind of entrepreneurs and we're creative and we do all these things, I don't know that it was really possible when we were kids, right? It became possible as we got into the internet age.
Yeah. Yes. I never had a computer in my house ever. I had a baby before I had a computer. So yeah. I had, a blog before they were called blogs. I had a page or an online journal on, it was called Girl Pages. It was hosted by Sassy Magazine.
Sassy Magazine.
I still have a couple Sassies, one with Robert Downey Jr. on the cover.
Same taste.
Oh, yes. Ooh.
Were you encouraged by the adults in your life to be a creative?
I would say that my parents were weird folks. I say I was raised by wolves because we were truly feral children in all regard. And, I say it in a joking way. It was sad. It was pretty sad. Like no one was telling us to brush our teeth or take baths or anything. We didn't have bedtimes, but they were also people who were very supportive in the way that they always told me like, you could do everything or anything. And you're so smart and you're going to be great one day, but never really gave me the vehicle through which to be great. Like weren't great about, signing me up for classes or taking me to things or driving me places, but they did give me a sense of limitlessness in terms of what I could create for myself. So that was cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
And we find ways to make it work, right?
I mean, I guess so. A lot of it was just survival. A lot of it was a combination of I have to pay bills and be in the world. I didn't really have the emotional or mental health to get a real job because I, again, kept quitting or just not showing up or getting fired. And I had to, have to eat, not really good at anything in particular, especially following rules. So, I figured it out. And again, very lucky, had some opportunities, had some luck, had some privilege, people along the way giving me chances. And that was that's how I got here. Thank goodness for other people, right? Because I would be lying on a curb somewhere. I can't even imagine what would have happened if I really didn't have some really cool people walk into my life and show me the way.
Well, it turns out we don't do it all by ourselves. No one is self-made. Let's describe a little bit the landscape of your creative professional life now.
Okay.
So what if we had to string together all the hyphenated things that you do and are?
Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm trying to think because yesterday I was literally in tears with my marketing team saying, I just can't be anything more. I can't be anything more. So I am an author. I write books for children and I used to write books for adults. Maybe I'll return to that. Probably not because adults don't listen. Really not that interesting to me anymore, but I love writing books for children. I'm a publisher of both books for children with my imprint Wheat Penny Press and adults through my new publishing house, Row House Publishing. I continue to call myself a meditation guide and definitely, absolutely a mental wellness advocate, and more specifically, an advocate for accessibility for all to mental wellness tools. And, I'm on the Instagram, so I'm an Instagram person and I love social media. I think it's the best thing that's ever happened, especially for someone like me who can be, have social anxiety, can be a little agoraphobic, for real, identifies as being neurodiverse. I have a late diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder and ADHD. So it's allowed me to feel normal and connect with people like me. So it's, so that's what I do. I like the internet and writing and publishing books, publishing being my favorite thing at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to dive into that in a second, but I've seen you just have we known each other 8 years, 9 years, somewhere in there?
9 years. Yeah.
Okay. So in that time, you have greatly shifted what you did with your time, what you did to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious about that process as a creative, because a lot of people, myself included, really struggle with like letting go of a definition or a way of doing business, or I'm a this kind of coach and now I'm going to be this kind of artist or writer. So how are you with those transitions? Are they really easy for you, or are you looking back thinking, oh, I've learned a lot about how to make these transitions and grow?
I've learned nothing. I've learned nothing about strategy, and I'm going to be super, super real. There's some things, and I don't know if it comes from the different way my brain works, if it comes through the kind of the stoic way that I approach life. Like, it is what it is, but then of course there's things that I can change. So I'll take change there, but I don't have a lot of attachment to many things in my life. And a big influence of that too was, shortly after we met, or actually in the midst of when we met, I was in the process of basically losing every single parent that I've ever known. My dad that raised me, my mother, my stepfather, and my biological father all died within like 3.5, 4 year span of each other. And other stuff starts to not matter as much. So I don't get attached to things. I love my things. Before we went live, I was showing you my toys and my wind up toy collection and all that. I love my things, but something breaks. I'm like, okay, well, I had that for a moment. It was good while it lasted. Same with careers. I would actually love to have 20 more careers in my lifetime because I want to experience as much as I can. So I don't get attached to like being one thing. I have a strong sense of who I am as a person. So I know that, what I do is just an expression of who I am, and I can express myself in so many different ways. So, while what I do is who I am, it doesn't always have to be the same thing. I want to talk about this a little bit because can we talk about purpose for a second?
Yes.
Because I find a lot of people struggle with this, and I really like this approach that I have.
Tell us, please.
That sounded so obnoxious.
Tell us the secrets.
So I talk a lot about purpose and meditated on a lot. I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing, Lord God? Jesus, take the wheel and tell me what I'm supposed to be doing in this life. And what has come to me over hours and hours of meditation and really praying on it was this idea that we all come here for the same reason. And I talk about it in 4 parts. I've written about it. And that's to love, be loved, learn, and teach. And that's it. And when you are doing those things, you are really fulfilling this idea or this mandate, I think, or obligation to connect and be with each other and help each other. So with that too, love, be loved, learn, teach. I mean, it can manifest in as many different ways as there are people on the planet, right? Like it's like, I can be doing that through art. I can be doing that through writing. I can be doing that through teaching people how to drive, like whatever. I could do that just by like being in the world and just like smiling at people and telling stories and listening to stories. So with that, my career can change and it'd be like no big deal because I'm still fulfilling that purpose. I'm still expressing myself in that way through that thing. So I don't have a strategy except I have to keep the lights on. That's, a big deal with kids, especially. And I have to like it, which is a huge privilege, but I like make it happen. I grew up poor. I always say I'm broke, but I'll never be poor again. Like I've been broke. I will be broke again. My buying toys and plants habit. But, I'm not afraid of being poor. I'm really not. So I take big risks. So yeah, I mean, that was a long ass answer.
Well, you've used the word privilege a couple of times. And I'm curious how you see your galaxy of privileges in relationship to creativity.
Well, the more privilege you have, the more time you have to contemplate things like being creative. I mean, my goodness, when you're struggling to survive, you're not really thinking about much beyond the necessity of, of what I need to get to survive. So, the more money I make and the more comfort I have, the bigger safety net I have, I've just been able to, flourish in this, like, oh, maybe I'll write a book, or maybe I'll just sit around and look at plants all day and contemplate trees, or, it's just, it's so much easier when you're not starving, right? To make things and create things and take risks. So I will say that a lot of beauty has come out of my struggle, but what I've also learned, I thought that I needed that. And I, you hear that like the starving artist or the tortured artist, and I gotta tell you, I make a lot of stuff being happy too, and having a full belly.
I like that. I like that because it's really easy to get attached to this myth of the starving artist, of, use your pain to create something.
Yeah. I'm grateful for my life and experiences. Those definitely manifested in certain projects or ideas or whatever. But I just, as a feeling, I don't know. I feel like I was made who I am, and I would be creating beautiful things, whether I was tortured or not, and I would happily have suffered less and been a little bit more bland also. Like, I'll take mediocre over, being hungry or not having a house. Like, I'll take mediocrity over that some days. It wasn't all, it wasn't great. I laugh now, but it sucked. It sucked. Yeah. And, I had a hard life. I had a terrible adolescence. Like, I struggled a lot. So, and again, the evidence is now here. I am doing really, really well. And I'm creating things. I love what I'm doing right now. I love what I'm doing right now more than any other time in my life. So
let's talk about Row House. Let's talk about the little readers.
Is this where we talk about white supremacy?
Yes. I mean, anytime, any place. And
I asked before we started recording, because you said we're talking about creativity, and I'm like, how do we work in white supremacy?
It's always workable.
Yeah, it is omnipresent for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with Row House.
Yes.
Row House Publishing. Mm-hmm. What's the inspiration? I mean, listeners, this woman is starting a publishing company. I mean, second publishing company.
It's here. No, I'm saying it's here. Like,
it's here.
It's like I was starting it, and now like it's like a full blown thing. So, but I'll tell you, with help, that's what happens when you ask for help.
Yeah.
Again, I have great people around me to ask for help, but also like you really got to put yourself out there. So let's talk about Row House. Row House is a groundbreaking, revolutionary collective of creatives and authors that is creating a new model for publishing that is equitable and transparent. And our tagline is raising the volume on voices that matter. It's focused on authors who have identities that have been pushed to the margins, Black, brown, LGBTQIA+, disabled, immigrants. Like, it's just really freaking cool. And the model is, because it's transparent, I can just tell you, it's a 40-40 tribute to 40 Acres and a Mule that, some folks were promised and did not get. It's a 40% royalty paid on the back end, which is about 4 times industry average, and a $40,000 flat advance, which breaks the mold especially for emerging authors who never get enough money to actually do anything to promote their book or make their book viable. You need an editor and a launch and all that stuff. So we're trying to get these authors paid in a way that gives them a chance. And then also there's a partnership in the marketing efforts. Publishers function primarily as printer distributor. We are getting in there with our publishers, partnering with them in their marketing efforts, really helping them to promote their books in a meaningful way. And it's just really, really, really cool. And we have 6 authors. Our 2022 roster is now filled.
Wow.
And they are just the most incredible people. I'm so thrilled to work with every one of them. Yeah.
So has a publishing model like this ever existed?
The model itself has not existed. It's people are getting big royalties. They're getting big advances. This, profit share model that we're using has been done many, many, many times, but it's usually, with authors that like Stephen King is not getting 10% royalty. You know what I'm saying? Like he's negotiating better deals for himself, but we're saying it's not about the influence or power you have. It's not about the size of your platform. It's like, do you have a really great story to tell? Are you someone who can deliver that story in a way that is compelling? Let's do this. So we have a commitment also we're basically split up in thirds, especially for the first year. We have 2 lead titles in Juliet Diaz and Maisha T. Hill. Maisha has the platform Check Your Privilege. 2 mid-list titles, Trudy LeBron, who has a business called Business Remixed, and she's a diversity, equity, and inclusion coach and consultant. She's incredible. So she's doing business in a whole new way. And Christopher Rivas, who's an actor, Dominican-American actor, and he's just like beautiful inside and out. And we're so excited to have him. And then we have an emerging set of authors in Brittany Carmona Holt, who's a full spectrum doula. She's writing tarot for pregnancy, which I'm so excited. I'm never getting pregnant again.
Amazing.
I'm gonna have to send you the galley. It's incredible. And then Quentin Venny, who is he's a good friend of mine, friend and brother, and he's talking about creating a new kind of home and a new kind of existence for family, and he's just really, really great. Yeah,
that's incredible. What a lineup, what a roster. Second question that came to mind was like, what drove you, because you had a few other things going on in your life when you came up with this idea. What was driving you? What was telling you, you are the one that needs to do this, and this is the thing that needs to be done?
I did not come up with this idea. So I left my old publisher. I was in a situation with my publisher who I was with for several years. They published my first 2 books. I was acting as a mentor for a diversity initiative that they had. It had become very clear to me over a couple of years of trying to change things from the inside that they really weren't interested in investing in my community. And I say my community, Black and brown people. So I left there. It was hard. It was like leaving a family, left my contracts there. And the very next day, my girlfriend and editor of one of my books, Kristen McGinnis, texted me and she's like, hey, why don't you start your own thing? And it was it was a joke and it wasn't a joke. And within a month we had a business plan and we were talking to investors. And so it wasn't my idea, but sometimes, you have to answer that call, and it turned out to be the rightest decision I've ever made. So thank you, Kristen McGinnis. And that's the thing with Oprah. Like, I'm not going to quote Oprah a lot, but she's done some really cool things, but she's introduced us to a lot of problematic people. And also she's done some really cool things.
Dr. Oz, paging Dr. Oz.
Phil.
God, that guy too.
Well, Joel Osteen, like so many people.
Can we take all those 3 back, please?
There's a list. We'll put that in the show notes, maybe like a list of people we need to write Oprah about. But she, I was watching her one day and she was talking about, the definition of luck. And it's when, opportunity meets preparedness. So like, yes, I've had a lot of luck, but I've always been ready. I've been ready. So when someone says, hey, do you want to start a publishing house? I was like, yeah.
Like, totally.
How hard can it be? But I did. That's what I say. It's, not to quote Marie Forleo, please, but I love that she does say everything's figure outable. That comes from an extreme place of privilege, but in a way, and I'll say it this way, when I was 12 and, we struggled as a family and we struggled with finances. And my stepfather said, money is the easiest thing in the world to get. You just got to get creative. Obviously it could be problematic, but the way I took it was, you got to go out and find it in the way that, like, not that maybe I can go out and make it myself, but getting creative also means like, who are the right people to ask? And how am I going to, like, I've hustled, I've painted decoy ducks. I've scrubbed people's stairs, like stoops, because we lived in row houses. That's where the inspiration for row house came from. I'd scrubbed their concrete stoops with bleach. I babysat. I've done like the whole thing, nannied. I've done the whole gamut of ridiculous jobs. I even worked in porn for a while, not as an actor, but I worked on the production side. So I've done a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And I kept that with me. Like, you just got to go out and get it. And now some people will have access to get some, better things or bigger things or whatever, but I just got to keep asking. So when I was like, how are we going to be, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out as I go along. I cry a lot though. I will say I do. I cried yesterday. Like I said, I cry a lot.
Well, that's interesting because I seem to remember, and I might be wrong, but it feels like when we met in the first few years of our friendship, you were the one who would always say, oh, I don't cry.
So then let me clarify. So I don't cry like wet tears. I do. It's like a dry cry where I just go. So it's just very
all different kinds of crying available.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's more like, I'm not a sad crier. I'm a frustrated crier.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I'll tell you that building a business for me, what we haven't mentioned, another hyphen to add is that I don't like to say high school dropout because I've never dropped out of anything, but I did leave high school early to pursue my own educational path.
I like that phrasing better. I do. Yeah. That's empowered.
I don't have a high school diploma. I didn't receive any formal business training. I definitely don't have any kind of pedigree when it comes, like no one in my family's ever graduated college. My daughter was the first. She's a first gen college graduate. So at first it was very intimidating going into spaces and talking about convertible notes and C-suite whatever and investor crap. I don't know. But over the past 6 months, especially, I feel like I have like a PhD in entrepreneurship because like I did it.
Yeah. And now you have an actual PhD. You have a diploma on your wall.
PhD from the Jameson University of Life. It's I love that.
I've been known to send out a diploma to people who just like you've got more than 10,000 hours under your belt.
I'm looking off screen right now as we talk because it's hanging on my wall in my
studio. Okay. So wait, with so many things happening concurrently, what do you know about your creative energy? How to maintain it, how to refuel it? How do you know when it's running out? That kind of thing.
That it requires discipline and routine. This, again, my brain works in mysterious ways. And well, it doesn't actually works in really predictable ways. So that if I don't have a really set, strict routine around my daily tasks, like wake up, pray, do my little ritual, brush my teeth, wash my face, put in a load of laundry, get my pink drink, which is sugar-free Kool-Aid, don't judge. I drink my pink drink, take my vitamins, take my medication, walk into my office with all my little things. It's that it has to happen the same way every single day. Sit down, do the things, keep a very, very, very detailed calendar. That structure allows for a lot of freedom, a lot of liberation for me. So I do know that about myself, that if I am not following a routine, all I'm doing is thinking like, where should I be right now? What should I be doing? So the discipline, the structure, and then also showing up anyway. You actually, as we're recording this, it's the day after the Derek Chauvin verdict, which was very heavy. And then another police murder of a young girl, a young woman in Chicago. I woke up this morning, thinking like, what's the point? And why talk about anything? And why ever laugh again? And what, like all of that stuff. And I was like, okay, brush teeth, wash face, put in a load of laundry, take your vitamins, like do all the things. And you reached out to me and said, how's your heart? If you want to reschedule, it's fine. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it because the showing up part is also another way that keeps me, for many different reasons, including mental illness, it's very easy for me to just go back to bed and stay in bed all day. So, but now I'm up and I'm having a great conversation with my friend and I'm glad I did it. It's like that workout. Although I have regretted many workouts. I don't know where you never regret a workout after it's done. I'm like, I have regretted.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like,
I beg to differ because I somehow managed to haul my cookies over to Pilates this morning. I got home and I literally just laid down on the floor in the kitchen. Bob and Lakin are like, what is wrong with you? Like, I should not have gone to this
Exercise is wrong with me. When I do show up in a way, and that doesn't mean that I don't give myself rest when I need it. But when I think about like, where is this not wanting to show up coming from? Is it coming from anxiety? Then I need to show up. Is it coming from real fatigue and like, I need to rest? Then I'll do it. But it was just me feeling anxiety and feeling helpless and hopeless. And one of my things that I say to myself a lot is when you're feeling helpless, help. So I was like, how can I serve today? And one of the ways is like to get up and do the things that I committed to doing. And I'll find some other ways to put out some goodness in the world.
You've talked a lot about getting help, asking for help, having a great community. Mm-hmm. What's some advice that you got from someone that really helped you in your creative career?
Oh my gosh, I've gotten so much good advice. The one is that the discipline brings freedom. That's one that was really important to me. Lauren Zander, she's the founder of the Handel Group. She said to me once that, people are too busy trying to be good when they should just try to be human. That was a big one for me. That for some reason just really hit and allowed me to let myself off the hook for so many things. This idea of perfection, which again is just another product of white supremacist ideology, this idea that we're all supposed to be like one way and one thing and look the same and act the same and succeed the same. It's stupid. It allows me to mess up a lot and just not even look at it as a mess up. I was having this conversation with my 21-year-old the other day because he's an artist and a creative and an incredible one. And I've never seen anybody so hard on themselves. And I think everything he does is just freaking genius. And not just because I'm his mom, because my kids are not great at everything.
I will tell them when they are not great at something.
I will tell them. But he's just, he's just going on and on. He's like, I don't know how people can just put out like bad art or bad whatever. And I'm like, what? I love when people put out bad art. First of all, what's bad art? But like, you can put out all the bad art. Be creative and grow or not grow. Who cares? Like, just do what you want to do. And this idea of perfectionism is stupid. And I just really love being human and showing up in my humanity. It allows me to have grace for myself. Also just so much grace and compassion for other people. Yeah, those are two bits of good advice I've gotten.
Who are a couple of people currently, because I know this list could go on and on and on, but who are a couple of people that inspire you?
My son, Calvin, because I said he's an incredible creative. He's also visually impaired and just makes the most beautiful art. There's a gentleman, I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now, Empowering Cuts. I'd love if you could put this in the show notes. He's a gentleman in Philadelphia. He's a barber he travels around the entire country, but he's based in Philadelphia, giving haircuts and physical touch and conversation to people, the homeless population. Really incredible human being. Another gentleman, Terrence, who has a kid show, and like doesn't have a big audience yet. And I've nabbed him up because I love finding new talent. A kid show called My Friend T. And he's just creating beautiful, beautiful content for children that, represents Black characters. And oh gosh, there's so many people. But yeah, those are people that are really like lighting me up right now, getting me excited.
There is an endless, it's endless how many people are out there doing beautiful, fun things.
Yeah, I want to know them all too. I'm so in their DMs like, do you want to be friends?
Make things with you.
I straight up harassed Empowering Cuts. I'm like, how do I make him like me? Finally, he DM'd me and he thanked me. Oh, well, yeah, he DM'd me and he invited me to their mobile barber shop that's opening up. That's what his GoFundMe was for. So I'm going to go to the grand opening for that. And another, I'm picking all Black men right now, but it's on my radar, I guess. His Instagram is Lindo, yes, Lindoyes, and he is a poet in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is like my city. I love it. He's a poet and his work is phenomenal, blows my mind, and just in love with his spirit. So he's inspiring me big.
One of the ways that you constantly inspire me is that you do have a different way of figuring out how to I'm going to do this and it's going to work like that. And then it's going to connect me with these people and I'm going to help so-and-so. I love seeing how things evolve. It feels like your entire life is an art project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like that too. It's so, I'm a church going lady. I like the God stuff. And I just feel like we've gotten this really big canvas and this puzzle and this opportunity to create. And it's like, why are we trying to fit into what's already been done when we have all these ingredients to make something new?
Yeah.
And I think that is, for me as a, follower of Jesus or whatever, that is my service back to my creator. It's like, you gave me this opportunity. I'm not going to squander it like an asshole. It's like, I'm not going to be bad about a gift. like ungrateful. So I really want to think about it. So like you give somebody something, right? And you go to their house and you see it, like you like give them a painting and it's hanging on the wall. Like how good does it make you feel? They really liked it. You give them, or my sister, she always gives me like dishes and stuff. But like then I'll be like using them when she comes over. She gets me Corningware, which I actually love. And then also like the Corelle, the dishes that don't break. So I'm using them. She's like, oh, I got the dishes out. I'm like, of course I do. I love these. I've been using them forever. So it makes you feel so good. And I think as a child of God, whoever that entity or whatever is looking down on me and going, she's really appreciating that situation I laid out for her. And wow. Thanks for making me say all that.
Yeah. Thanks for saying it. Recorded. Listen to it again, folks.
What did I just say? But it's true. That's the way I look at it. I mean, like and again, I lost a lot of people in a short amount of time. And I've lost a lot of people, that have died by suicide, that have died from addiction. And I'm just like, God, it's so quick. And I don't know what happens after this. I really don't. And oh God, what an opportunity. And I don't want anything about my life to be regular.
Well, okay. So this brings me back to the title of this whole show, Her Rules Radio. And we have to figure out how to make things work in a world full of rules that we had no part in creating.
Yeah.
So what rules do you either break consistently, or did you have to break to get to where you are?
I don't even know if I'm really like aware of rules. I'm just so like in my own universe. That could be privilege. That could be just being real irresponsible. I'm just not good. I mean, I do my taxes like every 3 years. I'm just bad at rules. And, I tell my kids too, when it comes to a rule, you have to ask yourself, who made it? Why was it made? Was it made for you? If not, fuck it. Whatever. I mean, honestly, I'm just like, I just don't get hung up on it. Like grades are bullshit. Attendance rules for school, bullshit. We kind of just skate by on what we have to do to not get in major trouble and inconvenience ourselves. But and again, we're really lucky. My children are white presenting. They have a lot of privileges in this world, me as well. But then again, as people who have privilege, we need to challenge the bullshit rules that don't apply to the people that we care about and make them different. So we have to protest. We have to create new opportunities. I have this publishing house and it's like, you don't want to publish Trudy LeBron because she's talking about business and her language is too casual, meaning she talks like she's from the hood or whatever. Fuck that. Come to Row House because I want you to speak in the language that makes you feel comfortable and allows you to express yourself in the best way. So That's what I think about rules. I do follow rules. I follow the golden rule. I follow the 2 commandments that are, that were laid out, that we're supposed to get rid of all the others, love God and love your neighbor. Those are my rules. And, my parents taught me that. That was it. Yeah. They were like, there's 2 commandments, love God, love your neighbor, period, done. So I never said pledge allegiance. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance.
Yeah, they were like, that's bullshit. Don't do that. Like you don't pledge allegiance to a flag. You pledge allegiance to your fellow man, your brothers and sisters. Like it. So I don't know. I'm just tired of rules. Rules get people murdered and protect bad cops and whatever.
A lot of rules are there to protect the status quo, keep things as is.
Yeah.
And some aren't. Some are not, some aren't, right? We got to be discerning.
I don't know many rules that aren't there to protect the status quo because the whole point is like the way things are, we want them to remain. I think breaking the rules should be the rule, but also, I don't know. There's just too many of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Scrap them all, start over.
And that's what creatives are so good at.
I'm not talking about the purge. Like,
whoa.
Don't hurt people. Do no harm.
Now we're a prepper podcast. Okay. So if you could have your creative dreams totally realized, more totally realized because you just keep realizing them, what do the next 5 years look like for you?
Well, of course, growing my publishing house. And then a little dream that my husband and I have is building little outbuildings on our property and creating like an artist colony where people can go and use the space. We actually started talking to my daughter's piano teacher, who happens to be he's a professional harpist, which is like, who, what? He was out in our back acres, and he saw this little platform that my husband built at his like little man camp. And he's like, that's a great stage. And he's like, oh, it's not really a stage. It's like a patio. And then I was like, a stage. So we talked to him about, we live in a very conservative farming community. We met him through a BLM rally that he organized in town, and also our first Pride rally. And, he has a group that's like it's a little group of activists here in town. And I said, if you want a safe place, because I know where they are, it's right in the center of town, and it doesn't feel safe because like people pickup trucks drive by and they're like, giving them the stares. I said, you can use our property whenever. And that's also part of how I'm trying to participate in the land back movement, because we have 8 acres, and I would love for our land to be used for community purposes and kind of give back to people that don't have access to that kind of space. So that's my creative dream. My creative dream is to be around other people creating.
Yeah.
I don't need to be I just want to be in the presence of artists. When he comes over and plays piano with Annie, and it's like, because all my kids like play drums and electric guitar, like trombone and oboe, and it was clarinet, it was a hard saxophone. It was like, the saxophone is the terrible instrument. Why is it even a thing?
Cacophony.
So bad. But now I have a piano being played in the house. I'm just like, oh, this is beautiful. I just want to be around that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a few people in life where you feel like, I feel special that this person likes me. And you're one of my people that I feel like I love that I get to be your friend.
It is special because I actually don't like a lot of people. I love everyone, but like not everyone's invited over, right? So like, no, I adore you. I think that you're just like you're the most kind. I don't know. I talk about you. We have, you're having my friend Courtney, your podcast. And I was talking to Courtney, and, cause you got to qualify when you're like, Courtney's, Black woman, and you're like white lady. And I had to qualify when I'm giving her this information. I'm like, no. She's she's sincere and just pure hearted. You are just like an angel human. And I am so lucky to know you.
Okay. I'm going to cry, and we're going to end the podcast there.
Okay.
I do wet cry. I wet cry all over the table. Everybody, I want you to go check out. We didn't even talk about the children's books.
Whatever.
Didn't even talk about Zara.
It's fine.
Didn't talk about Little Readers.
It's fine. Zara's living her best life. People will find her.
I mean, go get a copy of each of the Zara books, because her unfolding story is so beautiful, and everyone of every age is going to get really important skills and healing out of these books. And go follow and check out and buy all the books that come out through Row House Publishing. Follow Bex on Instagram at Bex Life, BEXLIFE. And, maybe follow our Instagrams, because it sounds like I'm going to be like lurking on the farm listening to a harpist play soon. That would be amazing.
He's incredible.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you for picking me up out of bed this morning in my, dark night of the soul.
Go make beautiful things. Thanks for being here, everyone. Thanks for listening. Did you like today's episode? You should go leave a review. Hey, it really helps us out. I would so appreciate it. Do us a solid. Go leave a review wherever you love listening to your podcasts. It could be iTunes or Stitcher or Spotify or whatever. Anyway, if you're interested in some coaching with me one-on-one, go on over to bit.ly/coachmealex, or go to alexandrajameson.com. And thanks for listening. Totally appreciate you. Be sure to tune in next week for more goodness. See you soon. Mwah.